Alexa, is Amazon a good buy?
When the market closed on September 28, 2023, Amazon.com's market capitalization was $1.3 trillion US dollars. Did that answer your question?
No.
Welcome back to another roundtable. My name is Adam. I have Rusmin and Victor.
Hi everyone.
And Alexa over there. And today we're going to talk about whether you can use AI to invest.
Yep.
So we are going to test this using ChatGPT and Google's Bard to ask questions about how when you go about analyzing a company, what you're going to get. So the company we're going to have a look at is Amazon, because it's a company that we're familiar with.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit complicated as well. Yeah, not so simple to do your research on, because there are many different business lines with different business models. And we wanted to see whether, ChatGPT or Bard could, analyze that and explain it to, a layperson if you're doing your research and all that. So what we're going to do is that we have this model on our website. It's called the Alpha Quadrant or Investment Quadrant, right? Where we have a look at the company's business, financials, and valuation and management as well. And we kind of do that holistic approach and then find out whether a stock is a high quality one that we should have a look at. All right. So we're going to use that model and we're going to base our questions around that. And we're going to ask ChatGPT and Bard and see what comes up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to have a look at is the business of Amazon. So what sort of questions did you ask for, the AI about Amazon's business?
Yeah, so I actually asked Amazon ask ChatGPT what is Amazon business model and can you describe each business segment, right? So I think I got the answer over here. It seems to explain everything quite well, but then I try it on Bard. It seems to have a better answer.
Okay, so maybe I would just give a kind of a background with those who are not so familiar with Amazon. If you take a look at Amazon's annual report or quarterly earnings, they kind of split the business into three segments: US, international, and AWS, which I think is not a very good way to actually understand the business. So the better way is actually to look at their product categories. I think there's one, if you scroll down the quarterly earnings, you see one down the line where you have online stores, physical stores, third-party sellers services, advertising, subscriptions, and AWS and so on. I think that's the best way to understand Amazon's business model. So do you think ChatGPT or Bard managed to bring that out when you ask the question?
I think yes, right. I think if you look at ChatGPT, right, they basically tell you every business segment. But Bard seems to understand Amazon business model, right? So they actually mentioned that the two main segments actually the retail and web service, which is the AWS, right? Then they got other smaller segments, which is your prime, advertising, and the hardware, right? So they basically knows that the retail and the AWS the main business, which is actually really right. Then the rest are the side business. So for ChatGPT, when they show they just describe every single business, but they don't seem to know that which is the main business or. They just describe every single one equally.
So I would say that Bard is more pleasant when it comes to answering this question. It's more like talking to you, right? It doesn't give you that kind of Wikipedia page about Amazon business model, right? Bard is really talking to you.
And I think the good thing about Bard is I think it is more proactive, right? Because when I ask ChatGPT, they just give me whatever I ask them, right? When I ask Bard, they still got gives suggest the business model, right? They still got give suggestion why Amazon business model is so successful. Right? They say that they are customer focused, innovation and skill. They explain all in depth and they actually explain even further how Amazon actually makes money, right? But for the ChatGPT, they basically explain the different segment and just tell you what are all the different segments. Right? So it seems like Bard understand me more than ChatGPT.
So it's more conversational for you. Easier to use and understand.
And more proactive, I think.
Putting the facts aside. I think it's more conversational because you still have to verify whether these facts are true or not. Right? So Google does allows you to fact check based on the Google search on some of those data that they pull out. But for ChatGPT, you really have no idea how they pull out some of those conversation, the text.
So it's kind of like because we are familiar with Amazon's business model,
Yes,
we can
correct.
kind of like fact check when you were going through the thing.
Correct.
Yes.
But if let's say you're doing research on a brand new company, you don't really have, you don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
How would your experience be like if you kind of
Okay, I probably wouldn't do that. Right. So what I usually do using ChatGPT or EBOOK is basically I will still analyze the business. Then if I'm not clear about the business model, I will just go in and type. Okay, can explain further what this means and all this. Like they will explain it further and all this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more like a assistance to kind of like help you understand the business model overview.
Yep.
Yeah. But if you don't understand it, you still have to go to the company website and then go and follow the traditional route where you read and analyze them, piece by piece.
Yeah. So I think now currently the based on what I've been testing on the AI, right? I feel that it's just like the coding, right? All those programmer, they say that you can use ChatGPT as your co-pilot, right? You those like basic code you don't want to type yourself, you just type a code, suggest a code, then you just type yourself, right? So I think when it comes to research, I think they are also your co-pilot, right? They are not yet to the standard that they can become your pilot right now, right? I mean, if you rely on them being your pilot, probably you're going to get your plane going to crash, right? Right. So I think that is how I feel it right now.
Okay, so it can help point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Maybe give you like questions or insights that you didn't think about. Like when you're using Bard, for example. But it can't replace like your own research, because you can't just blindly go 100% and trust what this AI is telling you.
Yeah, yes.
Because you're not sure. Because it sounds really confident.
You speak with full confidence.
Yeah, especially but
okay.
I mean, when I read it, I said, wow, this person speaks with confidence. Like I was telling Rusmin the financials. I asked them, can you explain the financials of what's the number? Okay, Amazon's revenue, profit, cash flow, healthy. They explain superb with showing the growth, the CAGR and everything. But when I go and fact check the number, it's wrong. Right? They say it's 2022, but they give 2021's number, right? And some of the numbers I don't know where they just pop the thing up. But the way they write is so convincing.
Right.
But I think for some of the qualitative analysis, I think they kind of like nail it. Like, when I asked what is the Amazon economic mode, is something that we looked at because you really want to make sure that you invest in a company that, can fend off the competitors using the mode that they have. I think for Bard, I think they kind of like pointed down that Amazon has, I think, scale and network effects, which they have built up across a range of merchants, buyers and sellers, right? So it's a network effect that I think is very powerful for them. It's very difficult to copy this model. And then of course they have the logistic capabilities. I mean, with next day delivery or same day delivery, I think Amazon has kind of like built that fulfillment centers that is so powerful today, right? And of course they also have brand recognition, data and technology, right? So they even explain how they achieve some of these modes like scale. It allows the Amazon to negotiate lower prices with the suppliers, right? So it gives you really go point by point and then explain to you how Amazon actually achieves some of these economic modes. So it's and then in the past you have to really like pour through all the transcript to analyze what the management is trying to say to you, right? And understand how they built Amazon the way it is today. Now with AI, I think they can kind of like gives you that insights, right, where it just right in front of you.
Yeah.
So it does save time.
Yeah, but because we know it,
we know it.
That's why if you don't know it, when you look, okay, is it true?
Yeah.
You have a question.
ChatGPT also give the right answer. So compared to Bard, right? Bard actually give like about 4. ChatGPT give me about 10 possible
8 points for me. So
10 possible answers, right? But the thing why I say Bard seems much better. When I just read through again, right? I realized the lingo that they speak, right, is very investor lingo as compared to the ChatGPT is more like a text lingo.
Wikipedia
lingo. Yeah. Because I mean, like, investors, we know about network effect, cost advantage, high switching cost. But for ChatGPT, right, they don't say network effect. They still say network effect. They just say scale and network effect. Then the high switching cost, they call it customer loyalty. It's not the exact lingo that investor that we use, Yeah.
Okay. So Bart was more accurate in that.
In terms of the
that
lingo.
sense.
And
Okay.
I also prompt another question which asks whether does Amazon has a pricing power? Right? I mean, this is a question I asked to a lot of companies that I invested. And I think for ChatGPT, it kind of gives me the generic answer. Yes, does to her pricing power to a certain extent. So it's very generic. But for Bart, I think they still gives me that exact example of like, Amazon has increased their Prime membership from $79 in 2014 to about $139 in 2023. Okay, so that kind of like give me a concrete example that they really have pricing power for their Prime membership.
And then you can go check that example.
Correct.
Yes,
Because it's quite specific.
Basically, they give you the point, then they use something to back it. But ChatGPT just give you the answer.
Okay, so and you feel the answer is just very textbook. Is what you're saying?
But they don't. But it's still good.
It's still good.
Okay. It's still good. I do use ChatGPT to do my research also.
Okay.
Right. I think it's good to use for both. Right. Because I also have tested, Bart on all those like less well-known companies. Right. The result ChatGPT give me much better result as compared to
Bart.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's the other way around for lesser known companies.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. He understand my question, but when I ask Bart, right, I have to be very specific about the company.
Okay.
Right. I have to put that company's like ticker symbol.
All right. So I mean, it seems to be able to kind of give you like an overview of the business.
Yes.
Quite well enough, and then you still have to go check it out. What about the risks? Because I think when it comes to investing, a lot of people could go like, hey, tell me all the good stuff. But what about like the bad stuff? Does the AI tell you the things to watch out for as well? What was your experience?
I think in general both of them give point out quite good risks. I would say.
Okay.
Right? I mean, but because I understand the business,
still right. It's still from your point of not where you know everything.
Yeah. So I don't understand. I'm not so sure if I don't understand the business. Then
okay. How are you going to check that?
How do I go check? Right. So. So that's another important factor to take note also.
Yeah, for resetting, I asked a more specific question like pertaining to like TikTok, right? So they're going to those live streaming. So I asked, is TikTok a competitor of Amazon? And ChatGPT apparently says no, because the data is up to 2021. Okay. So maybe I'm using the free version. But for Bart, it kind of like explained that it increasingly TikTok is entering into the e-commerce, and it's possible that it could challenge Amazon in the future. And then they even give specific ways TikTok is competing with Amazon, like TikTok Shop, live shopping, influencer marketing. So but at this stage, it basically kind of like says that it remains to be seen whether TikTok will become a major competitor to Amazon in the e-commerce space.
But it's a pretty good answer, right? Based on what you know about TikTok's entrance into e-commerce.
Yeah. So that could potentially disrupt their e-commerce, right? But of course, with the recent Indonesia banning TikTok from doing live streaming, like selling directly to the consumer, that may kind of like slow down the competition.
But again, it goes to show that it's because you understand TikTok. That's why you can ask a question like
more
that.
specific.
Yeah, someone who may not even know that TikTok's into e-commerce, they just think it's social media.
Yeah.
They won't even think about asking that question.
Yes.
So it goes back to, again, your own research about what you understand about the landscape and the business and the industry.
The right question to ask.
The right questions to ask. Because I think it gives you data based on what you put in as well.
Yes.
So you ask the wrong questions, it's going to give you very funny answers.
Yeah.
But if you know the right questions to ask, and that again boils down to your own experience and research and what you know as well.
Yeah.
But so far the answers are passable.
Passable.
Yeah,
they're good enough.
Yeah, I think if you analyze in terms of the business model, to get a clearer understanding, ask more specific question. I think that segment is okay.
Okay.
Right.
I would say that if you can't find answer, by searching yourself, then you come ask, and then after that you try to verify the facts that they give you.
That's a good way. I mean, sometimes you can go like search like 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. You can't find what you're looking for.
I try to find answers for certain key metrics that I have been searching around. I couldn't find, but when I ask the AIs, they can gives me a number, but I don't know how they pull out the number, so it's also a big question mark.
But then can you search that number and metric and then see where it comes
No,
up?
it can't be found. Even I try Google search the fact, it can't be found. So I don't know how they come out that number.
Yeah,
just put
I think we should ask them what is the source, because
put-
Bart is connected to the internet. You should ask them what's the source.
Yeah, so they kind of like fake it to make it, and you don't know. You have no idea. All right, so let's move on to numbers. So this is all qualitative, like you said. It's pretty decent. You probably still need, as a co-pilot, you still need to be the pilot. Directing
that.
But when it comes to numbers, how is it when it comes to like financials and stuff?
Yeah, like I explained to you, the revenue, they give me very beautiful numbers, right? But when I go fact check it, right, they give me quite the numbers, I don't know how they get it. Some of the numbers is different year one.
Okay.
Right,
I would say the numbers are terrible.
Yeah. ChatGPT, you can't even get any numbers.
ChatGPT, I tried to ask for ROIC for Amazon. They give me a formula that I have to go and do it myself. Okay, so
here, I don't do the work for you, just do it yourself.
Yeah.
And Bart give me a table of the data for ROIC. I don't know how accurate it is, so I probably have to go and double check on that. But for valuation, I think I try to get the AIs to do valuation, right? So I asked Bart to ask me to basically ask Bart to value Amazon based on price to cash flow, right? Because that's the metric that I know, the right metrics to use to value them. If you ask AIs, they probably will tell you these are the possible metrics you can use. They don't tell you which specific metrics to use, right?
Yep.
So I asked that question specifically on Bart. I think it kind of gives me a price to cash flow. Amazon is around 300. I like what? I mean, I don't remember it being 300. I don't remember I paid for 300 price to cash flow for Amazon.
But
so
I got 21 time here.
So it seems like different people get different answer.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how reliable this is gonna be, but for numbers, I think I can't trust them.
Okay.
Because so far there's a lot of errors that I'm getting.
I think for AI, especially ChatGPT, they don't value for you because they don't have their data only until 2021. For the bug, I mean, I asked what's the valuation of Amazon. Is it undervalued? And some they just tell me some analysts think it's overvalued, some is undervalued. So there's no consensus on this.
Okay, so it can't tell you whether it's a buy or sell, I guess.
Yeah, correct.
They can just give you some data from the internet.
Yeah, so I think you have to be very specific. So like Rusmin asked like what's the price to cash flow? I asked what's the price to cash flow.
Yeah.
Same question, but he got 300, I got 21. I went to check, it's actually 21.
Yep. Okay.
Right. Then I went to ask them what's the average price to cash flow for the past 10 years for Amazon. Right. They told me 17. Right. I went to check, it's 21.
Okay.
So still can't trust on the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess when it comes to numbers, you really have to still look at the financial statements or go to like a financial data site. And just basically see everything on your own, and you just have to kind of eyeball everything.
Yes, correct.
To find out if there's anything wrong with the financial performance or the debt levels and stuff like that. You can't replace at this point using AI at all.
And it's mostly text-based. For I think numbers, we typically look at the chart, right? So at least you get to see the graph,
the trend and everything.
But for ChatGPT or Bart, I think that is still not now. It doesn't seem to be quite useful.
I think it's useful for business model analysis. I mean, of course, we ask a lot of questions. Actually, you no need to ask so much questions. You just type, give me a full detailed analysis of Amazon.
Okay, so what do you give you?
They just give me the full detailed analysis. We've roughly covered all the things that we mentioned above, right?
So maybe that could be very useful for someone who just want to do
just a rough understanding.
Just like an overview first.
Then after that, you go and expand on the question.
So it gives you a model, and then you go do research based on that model.
Yes, or you expand on that. Also, you can ask questions or expand on those questions. Like for instance, let's say they talk about the first party sales and the third party sales. They can expand on this.
Okay.
Right. Then they will expand on this. Right?
Or you could go like explain like I'm 5 because I don't understand what you're saying.
Yes, correct.
It calms it down for you as well. Because sometimes it's quite complicated.
You
read online as well.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
I also try to ask whether if I think AIs can give you some emotional support, right? In the event when market is going through some volatility, right? You get someone to talk to, right? Because when the market is sell off, and then you see the share price all collapsing, you have no one to talk to. Maybe you can turn to AIs, right? So
what'd you get?
I say Amazon share price drops. Should I sell? I asked Bart, and the Bart says that basically in a nutshell, if you're a long-term investor, you don't sell, you hold, because Amazon is a great company. But if you're a short-term investor and you're concerned the reason of the share price drop, then you may have to sell.
Okay, so it's quite a political.
It's a political answer. So I think it's also not going anywhere. And at the end of the day, they say that you talk to your financial advisor.
It's pretty interesting because I think I've gone online before, and there are some people who use ChatGPT as a therapist. It's pretty interesting because they have, let's say they have depression or something like that, and you can't see a live therapist all the time. But they just need an outlet for them to kind of
vent out,
vent or share their feelings. And ChatGPT is actually, based on what I read, pretty good at kind of just giving you connection in that sense. I don't know if it still works, because then it veers into territory if you give the wrong answer, and then the guy could just kill themselves. So I don't know if it still works that way, but I remember reading something like that. But that's a pretty interesting thing that you asked as well, because some people could actually use that for make the decisions. You don't know what you end up with.
But at least you get a response, right? Whether it's the right or wrong answer, doesn't matter. At least you have someone to talk to, right?
So when it comes to financials, no way. There's no way. And valuation as well. No as well. You still got it can't replace your research.
But you can names you the competitors who are Amazon competitor for different parts of the business. So I think for investors, increasingly, I think you may use these AIs to help you with your research. But you can't just purely rely on it to make the decision. You still ultimately be the director who make the decision.
But of course this is just only one source to point you to, like you say, because a lot of times I remember some of the members, they always ask me how do I find competitors, right? Most of the time we find it from reading or from the analyst report,
or the knowledge that we already know.
Right. But I mean, this can be another source for you to look up, suggest. They may suggest the right one or may not be the right one, but it points you to somewhere that you can look at and go and look at the company and see whether they are really competitor or not, right? Better than you go out and you search and you cannot find anything.
So maybe I give you an example, competitor for e-commerce, Amazon is Walmart in the US. Cloud computing, Azure and Google Cloud. Digital advertising is Google and Facebook. Online retails, Alibaba is their competitor. Streaming, Netflix. So it's quite detailed.
And it's accurate.
It's quite accurate.
Right? Okay. So you still can use this as a tool, but not to replace your thinking. There's no way you can do that.
And of course you have to do a lot of fact checking because you don't know how they really come up with some of these numbers.
Alright, so bottom line is, can you use AI to invest for you?
You can use it as an assistant.
As assistant. It cannot help you invest.
Your part-time research analyst.
Part-time research analyst. And I think that's kind of this true for everything else. I mean, even if you're watching us or listening to us share our research, or you have a financial advisor, at the end of the day, you still need to know some of it yourself, so you can kind of know whether what anyone else is telling you makes sense. And then you can make your own decisions. Because if you kind of just outsource that entirely, it's actually quite risky. Because you don't know what you don't know. That's the thing, right? That's the risk there. So you still need to kind of know what you're doing, and then outsource certain things, save your time. But nothing replaces your thinking and your decision making. All right. So is that...
Thankfully, this channel is still safe. We won't be replaced by AIs. Otherwise, the next roundtable will be just Bart and
just asking questions and Alexa giving us answers as well. All right, so I think that was a pretty interesting, roundtable. I mean, some of us have been, or some of you maybe actually be playing around with ChatGPT to ask questions for other things. So we just decided to see whether they could kind of give us answers for investing, and it's kind of mixed. Pretty good for some areas, not so good for some areas.
I think the prompt is very important. Right, the question you ask, which is the prompt, right? So I mean, as you keep practicing, right, you keep testing out different prompts, then you
but good questions comes from being a good investor.
Yes, correct.
Right? In a way. So still, you can't. There's no shortcut in a sense. It helps you save some time. It's not a shortcut. All right. So is there anything else you want to share about this, guys?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So my name is Adam. That is Ruben. That's Victor.
Thank you.
Alexa. All right. So thank you so much for watching this roundtable. Any questions? Put them in the comment section. If you like this roundtable, please hit the like button, and of course subscribe to our channel. Many more roundtables coming up, and we'll see you again.